Hello everybody and welcome to Ryken Supports. Today we have the great pleasure of talking to Don Cobra from the SA rock band LA Cobra. Dono, I just want to thank you for joining us on the show today. We are looking forward to what you're going to be telling us. So we're just going to be asking you a few questions, going through the band's history and what you guys have experienced. I know you have traveled many countries over the world, done some solo shows. You've recorded a few records and like I mentioned, done a ton of live shows. And you have been going on for 15 years. So we are looking forward to what you will be telling us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here today. And Ryken movement.
Awesome. Through LA Cobra, you have managed to live part of your passion and this whole dream that you had. Can you just tell us, how did you get involved in music?
Yeah, I was little. When I was 10 years old, I got my first guitar and I always wanted to play, and everything snowballed from there. And eventually, I think in 2003, you and I were in a band and we had some good times, and then LA Cobra happened. So I was lucky enough to live part of the rock and roll dream.
So did you ask to get a guitar, or was it?
Actually, I did ask to get a guitar. I listened to Metallica and then I found out, okay, cool, this is what I want to do. It was just something mind blown.
How old were you then?
I was 10, it was back in 1994. Actually, I was 9 because I got the guitar on my 10th birthday. So I got a Metallica tape from a friend of mine here in Meyerspark, actually, Willem, and blew my mind.
10, is that when you had your first beer as well?
Yeah, and cigar.
No, that's just a joke. We know he didn't drink beer when he was 10. If you can go back to, that's many years ago.
No, it's how many years?
Do you want to tell people?
It's 26 years ago.
Sure.
It's been a long time. I actually didn't think about it. It's quite a...
So at that age, when you are 10 years old, many people today, when they are older, they actually struggle to persevere when they're trying to learn something new or, master anything that they want to. Yeah, exactly. So how did you, if you have to go back all those years, can you recall how you actually got yourself to, because who taught you to play guitar?
At first, my grandfather showed me some guitar chords, and then what happened then? Then I started working out stuff from CDs. Then eventually I met, I think you know him as well, John, and he gave me guitar lessons, and from there on, internet. But the thing is, I always had the curiosity to learn and to explore and to try and figure out something that I struggle with. I think you got to put in the time and the hours, to do it.
So your favorite genre of music is obviously...
it's a rock and roll, like metal, but more old school metal. I'm not into the newer stuff. I like the old school 80s rock, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, and also some of the newer Scandinavian rock bands. That's caught my interest lately. Yeah,
I must be honest, I don't even know many of the latest bands. I got a bit out of touch with that because
Likewise, I'm especially the new mainstream bands. I'm not following that scene anymore. I guess I got stuck in an era. with where my interests and my passion is.
One thing that I don't understand, and I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this, but I don't understand what is it about rock music that fires people up like it does? It's incredible how a tune can actually just sort of make you do like a 180 degrees turn.
I think it's got an effect on you emotionally. Like what I love to do in the mornings, I would go to the bathroom and then in the shower I would just put something on YouTube and then start listening and get into my day, and that actually helps me,
So what type of tunes do you start with? Or does it depend on the day?
Yeah, it depends on the day. Usually I listen to LA Cobra. No, I'm joking.
One of the best bands that I know.
It's actually
just they
weird.
write good tunes. Okay.
No, I'm just joking. Yeah, no. Yeah, so I think music overall, like, has got an effect on a crowd. For example, if all, like a national anthem, everyone will feel patriotic, and at a funeral, everyone will feel freaking sad. You know, so it's got a.
Yeah.
It brings people together as well. It's not only affecting. It can affect you in person, like while driving, and then obviously if you're in a crowd, for example, like I just said. Yeah.
So, LA Cobra tunes, do they psych you up?
No,
So what I actually want to
no. 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 Yeah, they psych me up.
So even, I mean, what I want to, so obviously an artist, all of them prefer to play their new songs.
Yeah.
I assume it's always exciting to play a new tune.
Definitely.
I suppose they're not always accepted that well.
Yeah.
But it depends on the tune, so it could, I mean, generate mixed emotions for the artist. But what I want to ask is, if you go on stage, do your songs still generate that sort of excitement in yourself and in the band?
Yeah, especially when I see other people enjoy it. That's when I get into it again.
Or you get sort of energy from the people?
Yes. And also what's really strange is sometimes for yourself, when you write this song, you think, oh, this song is going to be amazing. And then people won't like it, and then your least favorite song people will love, and it's like, it's actually weird. It's like, how can you like that?
Yeah. But then, do you enjoy playing it, even though?
Unfortunately, I do.
Unfortunately,
I do. Yeah.
It's sort of, this song sucks, but it's nice to play.
Nice to play. Well, imagine how freaking Deep Purple must feel playing "Smoke on the Water" for 60 years.
Yeah. No, I don't want to imagine.
But you draw energy from it. I think it's different to listen to it than to play it, you know, if you know what I mean. If you play it live in front of people, you always have a little variation that you can still keep the whole song and the structure exciting for you. But if you just have to listen to one recording of the same song for, I think, 60 years, I think you won't make it.
Yeah, exactly. It's strange that those guys don't end up in places where you don't really want to be.
I think they have.
Fair enough. We're making bold statements, but we don't care. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, so just to bring it back a little bit more Ryken movement related. You know, you've had the, how can I put it, opportunity or the pleasure of, you know, living out this passion of yours, like I mentioned earlier. But, you know, I would go as far as to say everybody has this specific thing that they want to do, definitely. So is there a reason you can think of, or, you know, from your point of view, what is the reason that people don't follow that specific dream? I know it's a bit cliche, but if you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. There's various reasons. Obviously, sometimes people fall into the evil circle of the man, and they gotta be stuck in their day jobs, unfortunately, if they
conformity thing.
Feed their families, and I mean, sometimes you have different priorities than your dream. But at the end, I think you must never forget your dream, even though you're in the rat race. Always, because that could be your only happy place, you know. Like, I know someone that got like 3 kids and is working in finance, but her
who's that person, Donna?
It's my boss.
It's Donna's boss.
And she's actually an artist, a painter. And she loves it. It's still her escape, even though she knows she's not going to make a living of it. But it's how can I put it? Your escape from the reality that you're living in, and your daily freaking obligations that you have. So I think you must never lose that thing that, because in the end, I think subconsciously it drives you if you don't even think about it. Because, you know, if you have this shitty day, and, for example, just thinking about playing 2 chords on a guitar for me is relaxation. you escape
Yeah.
from.
Yeah. You know, just from my personal point of view, considering the brand, the Ryken movement, and you know, it actually started with the clothing and everything. And for me, it's something that started many years ago. And if I have to think about it, it's sort of like it haunts you. You know, everywhere you go, every now and then, it's sort of, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you?
Yeah.
And it just felt like one day, and then my mom came along, and she said, why aren't you doing this clothing thing? And I'm like, Mom, I can't do it because all of these excuses that we have. And then every time I see her, she throws in this Ryken thing. And then just one day I decided, for Pete's sake, okay, to silence this voice that keeps on annoying me, and now my mom that's also, and I mean,
thought it was your mom's voice were you talking about?
So, and I mean, it's just, from there, it's just.
I remember you told me this about in 2008.
Yeah.
And there was still Arkan. Back
Yeah,
then. I
yeah,
still
yeah.
have a shirt somewhere. Or a
that's
groupie
right.
actually stole my shirt. I'm not joking.
There's a lot of stuff that we give to people get
I
stolen.
didn't mean to say groupie.
Oh
Go.
yes,
Yeah.
there's people watching.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, when you start, you just think, why didn't I start earlier?
Exactly.
Why? I mean, you could have done so much in this time. Why didn't you start? And that's just a freaking mystery, I suppose.
I think stuff like that has got a. If you started that earlier, you would have had I won't say misconception, but things would have worked out differently for you. But when you started, it's the right time for it to happen. If you know what I mean. Even if you delay it by 10 years, eventually when you started, then you know you're going to put in all the effort that you're going to do and you wouldn't have done that in the past, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's exactly like, I mean, I assume, and I'm going to assume I'm right, when obviously your life experiences influences your songs, of course. So there's you share a part of yourself with your audience, and I mean, in what you're writing.
Yeah, definitely. And your thinking pattern about the songs.
Yeah.
Because if 10 years ago, I think I was way less mature than I'm now. but now you actually think, about. I must put a minor in somewhere to make it sound nice. And so it comes with age as well. If I would think back when Arkan started, I'm going to say Arkan for a reason, because that was your first name.
Yeah.
And if I think about the level of professionalism you have today, it's two different worlds. And obviously your work, your day job, everything has got an influence on it, because you're going to approach this in a more professional way and put those and I think the same happens in the band for me as well. I work in finance, but I try to put all of the stuff that I do at work into the business side of the band, and it actually helps me a lot, you know. So where 10 years ago, if I got $100 from a gig, I would freaking buy brandy and coke and beer and stuff. And so it's the right time happens, or the right thing happens at the right time.
Yeah. No, that's great. It's and that's why it's it's impossible for anybody else to make the same contribution. It's just absolutely impossible.
Yeah. It depends also on the people, what drives them, because their contribution might not be. How can I say? Well, in the band environment, I hope I'm on the right topic, but just for clarity's sake, I'm talking about that thing that you create. I mean, it's so unique because of all of the different things that influence it. Yes. For example, I would run the business side of the band, but our drummer would contribute artistically something that makes us LA Cobra, brings that uniqueness. He brings the stuff together, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So well, every contribution is valid or valuable, even if it's something very little.
Yeah, Donna, I just want to find out, considering the band, I mean, you guys have been going on for 10 years, is that right?
15 years.
Yo, okay, yeah, that's awesome.
It's long.
Yeah, it's a long time.
It's lank.
So what, considering the 15 years, what has been your highlight? What's been the biggest achievement that you've had?
Well, in 2018 we got asked to open for Judas Priest.
Yeah.
And
2018.
Yeah,
oh, that's recent. Yeah, I remember when
to open for them in 2019, and yeah, that's was
big.
Like, that was really, really awesome, and like we felt we're actually getting somewhere.
Just that. How did they communicate with you guys? Was it an email?
No, I got a phone call, and this guy is like, "Don, do you have a minute to talk?" I don't know if you remember Benji Moody. He was a DJ. I can't remember exactly on what station. And he gave me a call and said, "It's Benji Moody, to have a minute to talk. He wants to ask if we're available to open for Judas Priest." And I'm like, "Who's this?
Who is this?
Who is this? Is this a joke?" You know,
Yeah.
because I never thought like
Yes, yeah, dude, that's
from a
freaking-
phone call. You know,
Yeah.
I'd expect a mail or an email, and then he got our number from
Where was he at that stage?
in Johannesburg.
Oh.
He was working with big concerts, or the PR people, the booking was scouts from big concerts, and then it actually happened. And then the lady called me of big concerts, and I think it was like 3 days we got the contract, and then it was real when I got that contract.
Sure, that's awesome.
That was like a really good feeling, because prior to that year we released our latest album, Shotgun Slinger, and it felt like that album, all the hard work, and because it took 4 years to record, actually
So it's
paid
just
off.
everything led up to this sort of climax.
Yes, and then we got, at the same time, we got booked for a European tour, and so everything happened so at the same time, like you just said, and
Yeah.
it was a great feeling, you know.
It's just,
I was
like you
proud.
say, it's all of this time and effort and everything, reaching a certain point, and it's sort of that damn wall that breaks.
Yeah, it's the damn wall that breaks.
But to get contacted by, I mean, those guys are legends.
Yeah, they actually, I think they are celebrating their 50th anniversary this year.
Good grief.
So it's been around the block 10 times.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a great accomplishment. So considering that, what was your biggest disappointment?
When Judas Priest cancelled and we didn't open for them. That was quite disappointing. Yeah.
Shucks.
Yeah, they
okay.
cancelled their South African tour.
Yo,
And
okay.
so all this hype and build up for...
Did you guys cry?
Yeah, we did.
I would have also.
Our guitarist was really sad. He's like, you're lying when I called him. But the sad thing was we were actually booked in Sweden to play those exact dates. And then we cancelled our Swedish leg of the tour, cancelled our flights. Of course, we already bought our flight tickets. And then we had to pay, I can't remember how much, to change the flights and to be here for the show. And then, so that was a sad part. Well, also not opening for them, doing the actual show, but...
Yeah, because obviously it's
disappointing.
funny, we can joke about it now, but I suppose back then it was a major disappointment.
Yeah, it was, and we disappointed some fans as well in Sweden that would have never, well, I don't think they will ever come to South Africa to see us, and so it was a shock, but I understand also like they had to cancel for health reasons or something like that. So but I hope they decide to come back one day.
But I mean, the band has taken you many places over the world.
I've seen a couple of countries. I played with LA Cobra and the whole of Europe, basically.
That's awesome.
And then on my own, I played solo gigs in Australia, Brazil, Italy, and Switzerland. Where else? Yeah, and Ireland. which
But
was quite
getting
cool.
alone on stage is something different, eh?
That's quite scary. You're like
Yeah.
you're used to your boys and you
Yeah.
got your back, and then you're there and like, if I'm gonna mess up, they're gonna know I messed
Yeah,
up.
yeah. It's sort of in the band. You can, like they always say, I know because we used to play together. I mean, I could just, if you mess up, you know, your band member or whoever, you know, they all fill up those gaps.
Yes, yes.
But yeah,
I'm especially for an artist who plays acoustic every day. I think that's but
it's something that's familiar to him.
yes, and for me, that's not an acoustic artist, but doing that was quite stressful. But after 2 beers,
Yeah.
it went smooth.
Some people take a Red Bull. Hey, everybody's got their thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, beers.
it's so weird. I mean, that's the other thing.
It just chilled me out.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing that is such a mystery. I mean, that whole idea of, it's actually stupid if you think it is scary, because it's not like as if somebody's gonna hurt you or anything
No,
like
exactly.
that. It's weird. It's such a fear of
Rejection.
embarrassment.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
But it's, you know, if you really sit and consider it,
No
it's
one
actually
can-
so stupid.
No one can punch you in the face.
Yeah. And that fear is, I mean, that's the biggest thing that keeps people from doing something. It's paralyzing.
You know what's actually quite scary if you come back if you think before social media, I think a lot of people are afraid of, if they mess up, it's going to be all over social media, because negativity spreads faster than positivity, if you know. So I think that's a big factor as well. Like, I'm going to mess up, oh shit, everyone's going to see this.
Yeah.
Where in the past, if you mess up, well, I messed up just before Facebook and everything went viral when I played my first show in Switzerland, and luckily no one saw it. I don't think there was camera phones yet, which is a good thing. But I think that exactly what you said, that fear of rejection and embarrassment, especially social media puts the pressure on it even more.
Yeah, because everybody puts up this front of, nobody puts up a bad picture of themselves, or very few people.
Very few people. I've seen some stuff.
Yeah, look, those people think it's a nice picture. Dono, so LA Cobra has had a lot of success through the years, but I mean, I suppose all of us know success follows failure. And I mean, to carry on for 15 years, I am just going to assume there has been a bunch of failures along the road.
I think more failures than success. But
so how do you deal with those? How do you overcome those failures and carry on?
I think for us and for myself, the biggest thing about failures is, I know a lot of people see if your failure as a lesson learned. That's true. But I think for myself, the most important thing about failure is you got to accept it. You got to accept that you failed. Otherwise, if you can't accept it, you're always going to go back and say, oh, I didn't do this or what. But as soon as you accept it, you can have basically closure with a failure, and then you can move on and do it again and fail again. But yeah, once you've accepted the whole thing, okay, I messed up or this didn't happen, like for example, the Judas Priest thing well, that's not actually a failure from our side, but once you can accept that and deal with it, and then you can move on, and then you'll also be ready, and also you take the lessons learned from the process, and rock and roll.
Have you had a few failures where I suppose you always could have done something different, but where you think, you could have prevented this by doing something else?
Definitely. I've had a couple of those, actually.
I suppose that's sort of the definition of failure.
Yeah. I think you can always do something else after the failure happened. You always think you can do something else, but at that moment in time, that was your best decision. That was maybe the only tools you had, and maybe your whole scenario would have been different if you maybe had someone else's opinion or advice, but I think you got to deal with what you have and had and take it from there, you know.
But there's definitely, I mean, there's two differences. The one is you don't have the ability yet.
Yes.
You're just not good enough.
Yes, yes.
And the other one is you perhaps make the wrong decision.
Yeah.
That's the two differences.
And what's the right word when you're hasty? That's also always, my advice is to everyone, always take your time when you have to make a tough decision. Don't rush it. That is, I can honestly say that's part of lots of failures that I've had. I've made rash decisions, and that is what caused me a lot. Hastiness and rushing into something, and we got this opportunity, sign this contract, and then you want to kick your own ass.
But it's like you say, I mean, hindsight is the best sight.
Yep.
So it is difficult. At least I think the biggest problem for people is, you know, overthinking something. At least you make a choice, then you can, if you actually make a choice, then you can see if it was the right or incorrect thing to do, and from there you move on. If you don't do anything, then you're not going to know where you're going. But
exactly, but exactly what you said now about overthinking, all these past failures and the lessons learned made me overthink more than I have to sometimes. And sometimes I will play like, whereas I'm another person would maybe have 2 or 3 scenarios in their head of how this can play out. I would have 10,000.
Yeah.
So.
And with every new problem, you add that into the potential problem basket.
We have one big, massive problem.
And next time, if I've got a suggestion, it's not gonna work.
Exactly.
Look at the list of reasons why things doesn't work. It's on the list. You won't get past point number 6.
Yeah. Exactly. And don't suck.
But Dono, despite everything, I mean, what you guys have done, you were all over South African, music. We see you guys everywhere. You live shows are great.
Thank you.
There's a lot of energy in the band, and it's you guys are definitely filling a hole in South African music that I think we need.
Thank you.
Is there future aspirations that you guys have? Anything that you guys are planning on doing in the near future?
We're actually busy with our new album.
Awesome.
It's still untitled. It's still very raw. Busy with the music. There's no proper lyrics and anything yet. So it's still in that section of it. And then we are touring Europe again next year, July.
Awesome.
Going to Belgium, Netherlands, Italy, and what's the other country? France, yeah. Did I say France?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, and then hopefully Scandinavia as well this time, despite the Judas Priest thing.
Cool.
I actually just wanted to ask you to just give the LA Cobra fans a little heads up about what's Ryken about, just so that they also know why I'm really interested in this whole initiative.
Yeah. So the reason we got Don Cobra from LA Cobra to come and join us in this conversation is because you guys actually live out much of what we stand for, or what we are, our whole message that the Ryken movement wants to get out there, and that is to live out your potential. Most of people, just like you mentioned earlier, they conform to what everybody expects of them, and that is just, we live our lives in sort of this whole
tunnel.
Exactly. And we do not make our own personal contribution like you guys are making. So we just want to encourage people to get as good as you can and start exploring your possibilities. And
that's really cool.
Yeah, so we want to thank you guys for doing that. It's definitely setting an example. I know there's people watching you guys playing thinking that, shit, I want to do that someday.
Yeah, but what I like about Ryken is you guys actually motivate me and make me rethink my life choices and approaches on how I handle things. And thanks for that. That's really
Awesome.
really awesome. Thanks for the
That's great to
motivation.
know.
Yeah.
I honestly would not have thought that.
Yeah, it happens.
That's great to know. I always tell myself, you know, if we could influence one person to make a better choice and just to get them to take that one step forward, that would make everything worth it. But the irony is you won't necessarily know about it. So that's the only problem. But so thanks.
Yeah.
That's great to hear, Dono. And I just want to thank you again for taking the time for coming to talk to us. It is always great, just seeing you in any case, but sharing your experience with everybody. It is just awesome to get the behind the scenes of a band and, to find out about the trials and tribulations that you guys experience. And also the advice that you give us. Thank you for that. It was great having you here.
Thank you so much for having me, and it's really an honor to be here and to be, I feel part of this whole movement, and it feels like family, So I really, really dig what you guys are doing.
Awesome.
And thanks.
No, thanks, man. Thanks.